Another day in the action-packed week of CCG Counter-Strike 2 action, and well, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a bit of a hiatus for your boy Slayer here with the CS2 squad when it comes to CCG Esports, but it sounds like I've come in back at the very most right time, considering the season is honestly in jeopardy here for our game tonight. Potentially, I believe the last game for CCG Esports, 7-4. And of course, you guys know that Inflict is still here as ever, not only to be the analytical mind needed, but to make sure that I'm filled in with everything that's going on with the season. So, Inflict, what are the stakes we're looking at here for CCG Esports and advanced playoffs?
I mean, so far, quite honestly, it's not looking good, especially considering the start that CCG had. They even got 2 free wins as a forfeit this season so far. They went on for a 4 win streak just to end up losing 2 games in the last 2 days. This has been a jam-packed week for CCG. They've had to. This is going to be their fourth game that they play this week, and their final game of the season as well. But what's added to their pressure is the fact that SRY has not played a single game this week, and he will not be joining us today either. And what is actually quite literally the most important game of this season for CCG Esports. If they lose it, they're pretty much 100% out. If they win, it's still gonna rely a little bit on the round differential, but it's looking like CCG's round differential is actually pretty decent because of the losses that they had. They still managed to close out quite a few rounds in those as well, and they had a few comfortable wins in the season. So, and of course those 2 forfeits that are gonna really help CCG out in this matter. But today it's a high stake game going up against Pantsu, who are currently sitting, I believe, at 8 wins themselves. Uh, it's sort of a do or die situation, honestly.
Yeah, so in case anybody isn't totally filled in when it comes to how forfeits work with round differential, if you get a forfeit win, it counts as a 13-0. So that's why, Inflikt's talking about it's massive that they have the round differentials because they got those 2 forfeits and those came over as 13-0 wins. So Pantsu, they're sitting at 8-3, CCG Esports 7-4. And it quite literally is a situation where if CCG win tonight, with their round differential being so good, they could quite literally steal the playoff spot away from Pantsu if they can pick up this win. But what's interesting, Inflict, is especially on the maps we've seen the last couple of days this week, the map pool we know with the CC Esports squad, the vetoes didn't go the way you were expecting.
No, so quite surprisingly, the map that we're going on is Vertigo. We have in the past 2 seasons where I have casted CCG, I don't believe I've seen them play Vertigo once, and in this season so far, CCG have mostly just played Anubis and Ancient. Their very first 2 games of the season were, I believe, on Overpass and Nuke. They lost both of them, and ever since that, they moved away completely from those particular maps. They've only played Ancient and Anubis ever since, and this is going to be their first game that they move away from that. And quite honestly, CCG also had the final ban between Vertigo and Ancient. I thought it was set in stone that we're going to Ancient because they're playing with the substitute, and Jay Casper has played 2 officials, three officials on Ancient, in which 2 of them that CCG ended up winning as well, and so they were relatively more experienced on it, and it made sense. So this is a complete curveball, which I just can't seem to figure out what made them make this choice, but they did. So maybe they're hoping that they can catch everybody off guard, even their opponents and us.
Yeah, maybe it's also one of those situations where the way we highlighted, it's been a play. This is a playoff best of one for everything for postseason play. So
Yeah.
maybe this team's been scrimming a lot of Vertigo, and it's one of those maps that they've been holding further back in the pool, and they figure, all right, well, our season's on the line here, so why not this be the game that we show off what we've been scrimming on Vertigo? A lot of speculation that certainly can be done around this entire bat pick and the stakes that it could have on the game tonight, but enough speculation, right? Because we've got players hopping into the servers. I see more than about 8 players right now live warming up on Vertigo. So we're gonna go back to an intermission screen here, get everything set up, and get ready. Lock in for the ride because it's gonna be one hell of a one. CCG Esports on Vertigo for another shot at back-to-back seasons making advanced playoffs. Stick right with us to figure out how exactly it plays down. Right into action here, folks. Pistol round going on. All you need to know is CCG is the CT-sided team. They won the knife round, and they are bodying the pistol round. Good nade comes back there from Zamga, but It is still a 4 versus 1 and make it a 4 versus nothing. Great pistol round showing from CCG Esports. They'll take the opening pistol. They took the opening knife round. And on CT side, in CS2 Inflict, cannot understate how important winning that pistol is.
And CCG have sort of remained inconsistent in their pistol rounds so far in the season. And within the last 2 days, they actually lost three, I believe, if not all four. But they at least lost three pistol rounds. So this is off to a good start to kick off that early momentum in this in such a crucial game. You need to have your absolute best on. And again, as I may have reinstated from time and time again, with SR being absent from the game as well, and him being an integral part of this team, they just need to make sure that they don't let as many mistakes happen, as they are off to a great start yet again in the second round,
Oh,
finding those three frags. The J duo has found four to kick things off, make that five, and a clean one to kick on to start.
yeah, that was a 4K end up coming across for Mr. JJ Chinchilla. So that feels great. Especially because you have it all on
Absolutely.
MP9s. Well, I guess one of those kills is a USP. But you got them all on SMGs, so you basically maximize your funding for that round, and you minimized Pantsu's funding because they don't get a bomb plant. They just leave 4 for that round, but now things get a little tricky because Inflict, you save over those 4 MP9s, and now you have to find more crafty ways to utilize them because Pantsu are going right over towards those AKs.
Yeah, but CCG, they do have a lot of utility to enable that creative ways of theirs for those MP9s to be workable. On the other hand, though, Pantsu, as you stated, they didn't get the bomb down, and hence they don't have a lot of utility to back off this aggression. So they pretty much have utility available for one proper execute, maybe one smoke to potentially fake or slow things down a little bit. But the postmat is going to look absolutely terrible for them unless they can find a few frags to kick things off.
Ooh, and might get a frag. Nope, it's Corin that finds that kill on AMZ. It's a good pick over towards the A side of the map, but a trade comes across, and OB will pick up both of them there. Goran going to drop. That means the A defense is going to look a lot weaker, and Pantsu are just going to rotate on over here. They do have an injured player, but they're going to have to jump right out the gate here. It has to be JJ Chinchilla. Had the 4K last round. He's already onto this A bomb site, and he's setting up a pretty big flank, and Trip is setting up very well from that red box on top of that, picking up that frag.
And that's Soul M4. It needs to be crucial. It needs to find impact. Jay Casper, on the other hand, has fallen, and so has Strip, leaving that final player alive. That is going to be JJ Chinchilla with that MP9. Last round, he was able to find that 4K, and he was setting up for a flank this time around, but it's going to get disabled automatically as the rotation has come in. Although it's still relatively possible for this clutch to actually happen because two players are extremely weak on the side of Pantsu. So even at long range, he can easily find those frags. It's going to be the third player with the full HP that's going to be tricky.
JJ Chinchilla does not have a kit as well with him, but does find the
Big
first
frag.
frag virtually easily. But now he's spotted out. This is where it gets tough because TMK and company can just play back and wait for him to approach onto the site. JJ has to work quickly and cannot find the kill onto TMK. So a valiant effort, but Pantsu are now on the board here. Fortunately enough for CCG, the money is at least good enough to get rifles and an op out there, but their utility will be somewhat limited. Regardless, though, going to be able to compete here still after dropping their first round of the match.
Yeah, and on the other hand, there are four AKs across the board with one SMG. So again, not the prettiest of sights. They don't have maximum utility either, but it's still a decent chunk to work with, especially considering how the last round went. They didn't have a lot there either, but their ability to just to find those trades and take the man advantage and hold on to it for so long was what ended up winning that round. Jason still had a realistic shot after finding that first frag. He could have isolated the final two fights with a smoke, but was probably too much in a panicky mode to be able to do that. And ooh, the Molotov miss right there. It might be a bit too terrible, but they're already working with a man advantage. Pantsu looking so strong in this round to
Ooh.
kick things off. But Jake Casper, okay, interesting.
Steps in for SRY. We know how dynamic his AWP is, and Jay Casper pulls out the big green to get one back. JJ Chinchilla gonna have to come up huge here. Does get Termik up over pushing those B stairs. Gonna get a good smoke down as well. They're gonna try and rush him down, but that smoke should keep JJ Chinchilla safe. Zamga not gonna be able to find that trade, but JJ Chinchilla is looking for more, pushes the
Nice.
smoke and finds a second kill. JJ Chinchilla on fire. Jay
Oh,
Casper unscoping at the wrong time. Hits a leg shot on a TMK. Floridian there for the trade to avoid any real disaster. With the dust settling, CCG prime position here to take a third.
Final player spotted out. Floridia currently in a 1v1. Gonna try to hold off this fight as Corin arrives on site as well. And they're gonna go for a double peek. Okay, never mind. Corin fallen, but did deal a decent bit of damage. And suddenly, this is very much possible. Okay, JJ Chinchilla. He's already found 2 frags. There's 1 flash available, but JJ Chinchilla, he might have just found the timing. Although he anticipates the flank.
Oh, he's got a red. Really well played there for JJ Chinchilla. AMZ was worried about a Halls flank, a short corner flank, and JJ Chinchilla went the long way towards ramp and catches him. But yeah, that round got a little too close for comfort for sure. We'll see how much that ends up costing CCG because, like we've always mentioned with the CT economy, it's rough out here with MR13.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've complained about this on every single Counter-Strike 2 broadcast that I have been on. You can check wherever you'd like. And I'll continue to do so. They need to change something because CT, even maps which are supposed to be CT sided, are just not anymore because of how absolute garbage the economy is. But still, CCG currently sitting at a 2-round lead. On the other hand, it's all pistols except that 1 scout and armor all across the board except on 1 player as well. So this should still rather be a comfortable win for the side of CCG unless something goes disastrously wrong.
The question here for CCG shouldn't be if this round is even competitive. It should be how cleanly they can get out of it. But Obi finds that first pick onto Trip, knocking down a rifle that is going to be recovered as well. And Obi hits another Deagle headshot. Floridian falls in this eco round, looking dangerous. Flank cut down there. Jay Casper will swing to get Zomga as well. So they're starting to find the frags, but this is still a 3-on-3. And Obi,
Oh no.
oh my god, man. What is going on with these guys?
They're just hitting headshots. They're not exactly a lot to break down what went wrong for the side of CCG this round. They peeked out and got headshotted immediately. JJ Chinchilla, though, he has been absolutely lights out in this game so far today. Looking to find that 1v2 clutch to keep the lead growing, and he certainly does. And again, another round that should not have gotten so close towards the end of things, but CCG still managed to come out on top.
Inches turn into miles in a game like this with the stakes we have, and JJ Chinchilla is going to play like an MVP style performance. He has 11 frags in 5 rounds, so that is, especially in CS2 terms, pretty outstanding for any player. And JJ Chinchilla is brunting a lot of brunting a lot of the blows the Pantsu are throwing. He is the Atlas so far for CCG Esports this season. But someone else is going to have to step up, especially now that you have Pantsu back on those AKs. They have arguably their best buy of the game so far. And once again, they're going to find an opening pick as Floridia gets a little too aggressive towards scaffolding.
Corin, though, he may have just done the same mistake. Yep, too eager to take the fight, gets punished immediately. Nobody to trade it out either. Jason Chinchilla was good for 1, but now it's Jay Casper up against 4. Make that 3 as he takes Obi out of the equation. But still, it might just be too much for him to overcome. The 2 players are extremely weak, tagged down as well, but he has absolutely no utility, no defuse kit either, and there's no money in the bank of CCG, so it would be wise for him to hold on to that M4 heading into the next one.
He's going to find that first kill. TMK was trying to hold down the CT flank, but he took a lick for it. Down to 18 HP. Feels like he's just trying to bait out fights, play for exits. Now Termika has him red. Here's him running back towards the A side. Gonna try and cut him off. Headshot just to make sure, even if he wasn't hurt. And Pantsu, once again, gonna win a gun round here. So, despite the fact that they've come up short in a couple of rounds, when it seemingly when they have all AKs, they're perfect, and the reward is that CCG are now forced onto their first save of the game.
Yeah, and 2 rounds that should have supposedly been rather clean for the side of CCG. They ended up going down to some clutch rounds for Jeez and Chinchilla, and hence you can see that being punished in terms of the money factor in this game. The CT economy already being so terrible, and CCG having not made those rounds as clean as they probably should have. are looking from this outside in with not some pretty arsenal, but Floridian making do this time around. He's found 2 frags. Jason Chilla, the MVP for CCG so far, already taken out, but this is still very much possible because the third player on the side of Pantsu is actually extremely weak as well. And if they can retrieve one of those 2 AKs, this round would literally turn on its head.
Eco round wins are so vital. Pantsu knows that. They're slowing down their pace. They're waiting to see if CCG get over aggressive somewhere on the map. They're also really just covering the lower levels, and the aggression for CCG, they're going down mid. They are pushed fully through those T halls, and they've gained a lot of information, canceling out where Pantsu could be. With that Molly dropping, some audio cues given, they're going to have an idea that it's all 3 members standing. All these 3 of these AKs are going to be hitting this A site as the smokes drop.
Wise choice from CCG, though. They have 3 players on the flank. They're going to be able to pick up those weapons as well as they set it up. J Casper peeks out first. A lot of damage onto TMK. Couldn't confirm the kill just yet. The HE grenade to follow up. Obi peeks out, deals with 2. Trip finds the follow up, and now both of the remaining players tagged down to just single-digit HPs. But it's a 1 versus 2 for Corin, and he can't pull it off.
Head glitching on the sandbags, or just sitting behind the sandbags, is very helpful when you're low HP. CCG, it looked good for a bit, and it's ultimately a costly anti-eco for Pantsu, but it's a round win nonetheless. And the problem was this was actually double save territory for CCG. That was a force buy. Now they are pinned into full saving here. So crisis averted for Pantsu this time, and by all accords, this should allow them to even the score up at 4 apiece.
Yeah, CCG all stacked up over towards Ram. This should rather be a quick round. They have managed to find 2 frags on either side. And Jay Floridian, he's not holding back. He's found 3, and okay, we're not entirely done, and it's not going to be entirely as simple as we possibly thought it was going to be. An AK retrieved as well, and CCG suddenly have made this round possible.
Yeah, the bomb was dropped in T halls, so they had to go retrieve it. Now they'll get up towards the B bomb site, but the 3 members of CCG, like you mentioned, can now just regroup, wait for the bomb plant, and all rush over to B together and try and pick up an actual true eco win. This would be massive for the first half. Still keep that lead going. They're going to play through Floridian with that AK. They give it over to him. He earned it with those 2 Deagle kills. Trip going to run out first, though, but Termika finds both kills. Floridian falls. Good headshot from Corin, but now he has to move quickly. Picks up the AK. But TMK is not even going to give him a chance. Waiting to hear the tap. He's going to throw the HE a little far. Still lands on Corin's head. The time ticking down so low. Corin's not going to have a shot at it. There's no time on the clock, and for good measure, TMK will knock him down. So the eco round gets close once more, but Pantsu tie us up at 4 apiece.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every single round, regardless of the weaponry on what the weaponry has looked like, excuse me, on either side, pretty much most of these rounds have gone down to 1v1s or 1v2s towards the end of things. And that's just it seems like that's just how it's going to be all across the board. And what's really the difference maker is that fans who are lucky to be on this T side of things, their economy, it can allow them to have a proper buy even after going down constantly to 1 versus 1s. But the CT economy does not allow you to do that. And that might have just been the difference maker in this game, at least in the first half of things. But CCG now back onto those M4s as they look to regain control of the game, but already off to a bad start as Trip falls.
Trip once again getting picked off early. JJ Chinchilla will have an answer, though, on the B side. Termika shut down. Floridian nearly gets caught behind the sandbags, but good swing from Jay Casper. The crossfire sets up another kill. More information gained. These players are A side. Jay Casper running through multiple mollies, though. We'll just give a freebie over. JJ Chinchilla going to fall on the B side of the map. It's a double for TMK in the blink of an instant. Pantsu win every duel they fight, and they take the lead 5-4.
Yeah, CCG, they tried to get a bit aggressive, and that just couldn't work out. As soon as Strip fell, there was absolutely no help that the player on Sandbags had either. He was just getting too much pressurized, and behind that, Pantsu really cleanly able to isolate all of those fights out. And now fifth on board. This was probably one of the more cleaner round wins we've seen in this map so far. CCG, though, now is trying to fall a tad bit behind, having lost 4 rounds in a row. Their economy not looking really sharp either, but these pistol upgrades have converted a few kills this time around so many times, but not going to be around this time around as Floridian and I believe Jay Casper ends up falling.
Team K doing a good job playing defense on the T side. They can just group up and likely just contact hit one of these sites here. This Trip has some crazy deagle shots for us. Gets a tag, but no headshot. Still getting some good damage down, but no kills to be found just yet. Trying to play around that red box. And now here comes all the Pantsu. They're going to rush in. They've got one player cutting off any sort of flanks. It's TMK. JJ Chinchilla will run into him and will win that duel. So AK recovered. But the A-bomb site has been compromised. Plant down. AMZ picking up a multitude of kills here. 1 HP, still kicking. Going to be a tough retake.
Yeah. And he's found another, going to be able to find the final one as well. That's a 3K for them. As Pantsu have picked up their sixth, and it seems like they're trying to find more and more their groove in this map. Last round they had 3 players alive by the end of things. This time around, 4 players alive. Sure, a lot of them were extremely weak, but CCG they're losing their grip onto this one. I'm still surprised solely by the fact that they picked Vertigo, but if they don't have a strong start at it, I really am worried about how this is going to end up as being.
Certainly, Vertigo is a side map, where you get a lot done on the T side. Not like a nuke where you have to have a very dominant CT half. They certainly would like to equal back out to 6 apiece, but it's once again these early picks burning them. Obi finds the opper. Termika gets another one. Trade comes across, but N2O immediate snap headshot onto Trip, picks up another one. It's these early trades, they're just killing CCG over and over again.
Yeah, they just can't seem to make their work as magical around over towards that ramp area, and that's pretty much every single round where they have ended up conceding that first bloods and not been able to trade down those up as well. CCG, it just seems like their communication is a little bit lackluster when it comes to defending that A side from the ramp area. As soon as they're forced to push back a little bit and they have that flank or pinches set up, they seem to do better. They seem to do a lot of damage, but again, at that point, it's just a little too late for them to be able to make that comeback happen. They're already at a man disadvantage. Usually, from what we've seen so far, they've always been at a utility disadvantage as well. So they haven't exactly had a lot of chances to make a round fully work in their favor.
That was the weirdest drop I've ever seen to B stairs from Jay Chinchilla. He actually gets the opening pick. Zamga is going to be able to trade him and Jay Casper out. Hello, though. The MP9's doing some good work this time round. Floridian and Corin going to make sure they get in on the action, and can't understate how massive a round this would be to find.
Oh, what?
I have no idea what that was. I'm not even going to talk about it, Inflict, because 8-4 versus 7-5 is game altering.
Yeah, if the score ends up being 7-5, you win that pistol, you're completely back into the game. But 8-4, that 4 round differential, it takes a while to cover that up, and it seems like it is going to be the better situation for the side of CCG as it now that one down to a 1 versus 2, and Floridian finds that final frag. And one interesting thing that I noticed in the first half is that CCG have found more frags with deagles and MP9s than they have with rifles somehow.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. I'm gonna. The optimist in me wants to chalk that up to they're not feeling the M4 as much. Maybe that they weren't.
But they haven't exactly been able to purchase them like time and time again. Nor have they converted a lot of kills onto those AKs as well. But now that sides finally switched, it's still a 2 round difference. This pistol round, if they win that, they're right back on board for this game. But it all depends on this one for me.
Certainly, this pistol is massive. It looks like they're going to go for a straight scaffolding rush. Good headshot there. N2O's down. Corin gets another one. The headshots are coming through with these Glocks, running by and taking heads, not names, and it's worked out wondrously. Bomb down. And JJ Chinchilla is going to continue pushing. He's making sure nobody comes heaven side, covering all of CT spawn, bottlenecking these CTs into where they can play, and, well, they don't even get a shot at it. All headshots. And that's the pistol round you needed from CCG. They are perfect on pistols in this do or die map of Vertigo.
Yeah, with the way they approached that side, with the way they approached that round, it felt like nothing had gone wrong in this map so far. The confidence that they showed and winning that in such a quick and dominant fashion as well, they're completely back. It felt like their mind has reset, and again, that round is gonna allow them to put themselves back onto the game and tie things up potentially, because now the CT economy is going to punish Pantsu and set three ESPs, one flash, a couple of deagles. Deagles, although have proven to be deadly in this game so far, but the likelihood of them converting it around behind two, let's be realistic, it's not a lot, especially when one of them has already fallen.
Yep, easy first pick there. Trying to swing that high corner. Does not work out very well most of the time. This is what you want to do on your anti-ecos. I like slow approaches because you're just making those CTs sit and think about what flank angles they can find. Corin is going to make me eat my words again. Over-aggressive, but who cares when he finds the kills, am I right? 2 on the MAC-10 picked up, and that will basically extinguish any hopes for an eco win and solidify another tie. 7 apiece going to be on the board here with both these teams' playoffs lives at stake.
Yeah, CSGG, it seems like they've had a change of heart in the last 2 days. They've tried approaching the T side a lot more passively than what we've usually witnessed. You know, generally we see them being extremely aggressive within those first 20-30 seconds and already looking to set up onto sites. But now, what we saw yesterday and what we're seeing today so far, although we're only 2 rounds deep into the T side, but what we see now is that they try to take some map control. They did this time around. They took ramp, but they waited a little bit before entering directly into the site. They wanted to match up their timings perfectly, and I think that's going to be something that works out highly in their favor. They time that perfectly. They keep their communication on point, and that's going to be the thing that can lead them to victory right here.
Just keep trucking along. This round, can't understate, is massive. Pantsu have invested virtually everything into competing on this round, and Jay Casper getting some revenge through those smoke sprays on the ramp, picks up one. Trip, though, will be traded out. Wasn't expecting a boost on the big box. Trades are always going to help those T-side players. Floridiot, to be careful. Good molly onto the sandbags. Player, TMK is going to take one with him, and we're into a 3-on-3.
They're going to rotate Mac out, but still, CCG, they're taking the time with this one. They don't have a lot of information about exactly where the CTs are, so they want to approach this wisely. Zamga still worried that somebody may have pushed up, but both of these teams playing rather surprisingly passively as well. They don't have a lot of information. They're not trying to gather much either. Pantsu just wants to CCG walk in a little bit and then fight them head on. And CCG, they're going to take that challenge right up. Corin at that range with a MacTav. I'm not sure how wise it is, but now he has the backup behind the smoke. They plant the bomb. The Molotov going to burn one player down and force them back. And as eventually the bomb has been planted, and now the HE grenade to follow up. A little messed up, but CCG now in a prime position to hold on.
Yep, great post plant. Beautiful util usage to get that bomb down for free. Now it's Pantsu. They're going to have to aggress on here. They have one smoke. They're going to drop it on the bomb. Create some bit of panic, but Jay Casper, cool under pressure, gets the first one. Spray through the smoke onto the diffuser. Gonna force him off. Jay Zamga gonna jump on top of the box, gets found. Sticking the diffuse, Termika gets a knife kill through everything, but it's not gonna matter. A fleeting hope. The bomb gonna go down. Corin gonna die with it valiantly. For the first time since a 4-3 lead, CCG are back in front.
Yeah, it took them a while, but I guess your words were true. Vertigo looking strong for CCG on the T side so far, but with that M4 saved for the side of Pantsu, it seems like they might just want to go for a force here as well. They can invest into SMGs and FAMASs as well if they wish for, but the M4 is gonna get dropped. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. One player has so 2 M4s, 1 MP9, 1 Deagle, and one USP, a questionable purchase in my opinion. They could have easily gone for all SMG purchase and tried to make this work. They would have had a decent bit of utility all across the board as well, but instead they go for a half buy. They want their chance. They want to have a full buy leading into the next one because they like their chances in this one with just a couple of M4s as well. Again, we've seen players pop off from the side of Pantsu to secure those rounds all by themselves from time and time again. So it could really realistically happen yet again.
A knife kill helping out a lot to allow them
Yeah.
to make these choices economically. Nothing economic about that choice. Zamgus is dead. Trying to push middle to get intel. Gets punished. And 2-0 with
Oh.
one of those M4s, though, will find Florida at short corner. So, just like last round, we're trading back and forth with both these teams just cautiously approaching a lot of these choke points.
Yeah, this man right here, I fear Obi's Deagle quite a lot
Oh,
from
yeah.
what we've seen in the first half. But CCG, thankfully, they've avoided that. They're moving over towards the B side. Well, where DMK is rotating on towards as well. There's already Termika present, that one M4 alongside that MP9, and oh, it's converting kills. They have more help available in the face of Obi, but Obi actually ends up falling through the smoke. Drip gets aggressive, couldn't confirm a frag, but has dealt a lot of damage. Suddenly, it's Gordon in a 1 versus 3. He's found a frag, deals a lot of
Oh!
damage, but couldn't confirm the kill.
Now he's dancing around the box, just trying to play stall, get 2 1v1s, gets one, knocks down the first,
Oh,
playing the
bullets.
time. Gordon running out of bullets, has to get done with the pistol, and he's going to fall just short. A chaotic B take, but Pantsu read the play correctly, had enough members there on time, and the reward is an 8-8 deadlock.
A couple of questionable engagements, particularly Trip getting that aggressive with little information. They found the frag onto Obi. They didn't have some exact resistance initially while the bomb was going down. They could have rather played that post plant with all three of their players alive, but instead they wanted to pressurize Pantsu a little bit more. They wanted to find possibly another frag, but it ends up going exactly the opposite way as they had planned. Trip's frag probably was the most important factor in that round, but now that we are tied up yet again, CCG sort of on the back foot in terms of economy because they do have all 4 AKs but one SMG across the board. Not a lot of utility as a lot of it has already been invested. But Floridian now for once off to a good start. J Casper follows up. The Molotov going to force them back a little bit, and Jason Chisla barely survives that. But still, a 2-man advantage is something they're very much happy with.
Make it a 3. Trip and Corin, the crossfire mid flank. What was that? 180 from
Oh,
Trip. Absolute filth. CCG, well, they find it time to win their most dominant round there. Inflict 9-8 now as we're coming down the stretch.
yeah, and I like this. No purchases from the side of Pantsu except a few pistol upgrades. This should theoretically be CCG's round all across the board. They've found their rhythm. They're winning comfortable rounds as well so far on the T side, and with no utility to counter to help the Pantsu as well. This should be their round, and this should put CCG onto those double digits.
Eco Miracle is all that can save Pantsu, and well, that flank was sniffed out. Obi, you've been worried about his deagle. It's down. Another good pick from Trip onto TMK. They're covering their flank angle as well, and now they can congeal into a mass. Just push onto this A site. N2O, the only one to worry about, gets sprayed down on the side of scaffolding. By all accords, bomb going to go down. A 2-round cushion late in this one for CCG.
They're going to be really happy with that because if they win the next round as well, sure, there's a good amount of loss bonus stacked up for the side of Pantsu, but they're still not going to have a comfortable buy leading on to the potential third round if they lose this and the fall if they lose the next one. Excuse me. But okay, Zamga gonna be able to retrieve that M4 and that AK. Excuse me again. I'm messing around a little bit today. I'm not entirely sure what's going wrong, but I'm just really nervous about this game. Quite honestly, CCG they've had a comfortable lead in this season so far, and they suddenly sort of threw it away. But this game, it's all that matters honestly at this point.
It's all that's left. Nothing else matters but these next. I'm trying to do the math in my head. What would it be? 7 rounds? Or 6 rounds?
5 rounds of regulation. Yeah.
5,
No, wait.
6.
Two, two, four. Yes, six rounds of regulation here.
Hopefully it's not 6. That's what we're hoping for, Inflict.
Yeah, I mean, if CCG are able to win this round, it's likely not going to be. They're going to completely break the bank. Not completely. They do have two players with almost 3K all across the board. So they're not going to completely break the bank, but they're going to be CCG are going to punish Pantsu enough with that, and they're going to be completely with their backs against the rope as well. CCG this round could really just sort of cement their victory in this map, and
Oh.
likely going to, as well as Korin after a hot start, tag down to 50, but has managed to find those 2 frags, looking for the third. And had he been a little bit aggressive, he would have found the third. But Zemga is now left alone. Eventually the reinforcements are going to arrive, but the Molotov is going to keep them at bay for the time being.
Yeah, they have to find him now while his teammates can't be there to find the trade. But Terminica does find the first one. All 3 members of Pantsu are here on this A site. CCG have to be careful. Despite the man advantage, they would run into a gauntlet here, and they're more to the wiser. They're rotating out, mainly because JJ Chinchilla has taken over the B bomb site, but they're getting shot in the back. Floridian will falls. Terminica finds another one, evens it onto a 3-on-3, and allows them to realize the rotations are coming towards B. 45 seconds on the clock, more than enough time. JJ Chinchilla is going to be able to set up aggressively, and they're going to let the plant go down. The biggest round of arguably the season for both these teams here. 3-on-3, but Korin,
Oh
1
my
HP,
God.
has a massive flank. The trigger discipline is so good. He gets 1, tags down the Opera as well, gets a
Oh my
second.
God.
Korin on for the ace with the season on the line. He's not going to get the ace, but he is the hero for CCG Esports.
2 kills to kick things off, 1 HP in the flank to find the final 2 as well. Trip to close things out, and this round almost confirming CCG's spot into the playoffs as well. The economy completely broken from the side of Pantsu, and that round particularly did start to look shady when CCG started to rotate out. Zemga alongside Termika, they played aggressively regardless of how much map control CCG had, but they gambled on it. They wanted to play aggressively to gain that information, and they had that perfect read. They managed to find a frag behind it as well, and they could have prepared for that rotation earlier on, but Trip, being extremely wise, he was set up already deep into the B side. He denied that rotation, and Korin was allowed to make that pinch successful behind it. And a very thorough round from the side of CCG, which almost fell apart by 1 frag alone. And now they sit just 2 rounds away from playoffs.
2 rounds away from a chance. Much like the last season. All they're asking for is an opportunity here. Early on, good bit of damage down onto Floridian, but no kill to be found. Really just feel the tension. It's palpable how slow everybody's playing, how delayed some of the eco is. Each team, it feels like, are waiting for the other one to make the first move, and that nade combo just did it. Obi and N2O picking up a double. Here comes Pantsu.
The tension it builds, it continues to build up on CCG, especially as you get closer and closer. The hearts, they start to beat faster. And so do the gun. Strip finds one, immediately traded out. Jason Chinchilla looking to be the hero yet again, but denied this time around. All down to Floridian, the captain for this round particularly, but he will eventually go down as well to the hands of Termika as the score goes up to 9-11. Still, Pantsu remain in this fight. They're not completely out just yet, but the economy of CCG is still looking strong for the whole of regulations at this point.
Yeah, a lot of funding had been tapped out from Trips Bank there, but still looking healthy enough. Now you've put a dent into the loss bonus of Pantsu. Problem is they also kept so many up, so their money looks fine. Doesn't really feel like money is going to be much of an issue for at least the next 2 rounds. I don't have to worry about buys, just pure aim. And it feels like
Oh
util
god.
because Pantsu just quite literally deleted this A push. My god, it's a disaster. The nades, the headshots coming across from N2O. The A side is on full lockdown. And Pantsu, by all accord, are going to pull in within one.
Corrin left alone, and there's only so much realistic that he could do against those four players looking to play even more aggressively if they want to end this round as quickly as humanly possible. Corrin spotted out, should be dealt with, but a really big gamble from the side of Pantsu this time around. They invested those three players, and all of them went aggressively with that utility. They used the Molotov earlier on because they recognized if CCG are going to play aggressively, that's going to be the pretty much only counter which could work in their favor. And it did. The gamble, it worked out. The Molotov forced the players of CCG to play even more aggressively than they rather would have liked, because we mentioned CCG, they've been playing passively, and it has worked out for them so much that this time around they just had to be forced to play aggressively from the side of Pantsu in order for them to retaliate, and it did. CCG though, now with their bank almost on the brink of bankruptcy, well, they're down to pistol upgrades and SMGs. Floridian though still making it work. He's found the first blood.
Great pickup there. Tech Nines, we still haven't had an eco win just yet. A couple of them have come close on either side. Well, actually, I believe Pantsu got away with one. Regardless, who cares about that? Not in the second half. Very true. Man advantage, but not the hardware advantage for CCG. Got 4 pistols and a MAC-10, like you mentioned. Looks like they are looking to potentially wait out util and explode onto a site. Problem is, once again, Pantsu, they've calculated correctly. At least if they hold this, they've got 3 rifles all set up for a potential B play. Looks like CCG might go right into it.
Yeah, 40 seconds on the clock. CCG, they're gonna have to make a move eventually. And the gambling factor of Pantsu. I'm not sure if it's gambling or they're just reading CCG so well in these last 2 rounds, but Jason Chinchilla, he actually goes down, and that might force some movement. No, actually, they have the read, they've gotten the audio as well, and Floridian somehow with the solo HP has found a frag. His teammates, though, continue to fall, and now it's all down to Corrin, and he has the flank yet again, but he found one.
Whoa,
two.
where was Hemka looking?
10 seconds, though.
Oh, yeah, I thought he had enough to grab the bomb, but now he doesn't. He went for the kill. Really heads up play from Obi. He's been the best player for Pantsu, it feels like, all server long. That 3K from backside was massive. And he has the heads up not to try and gamble to stop the bomb plan. He knows if I play life, it's a round win. And I mean, for storyline's sake, it makes sense. We are deadlocked at 11. 2 rounds left. And still a shot for one of these 2 teams to come away in regulation.
If CCG lose this round, it's not going to be pretty for them money-wise. They do have a couple of players who are sitting around that 1750 mark on average, but other than that, they're completely broke. Jason Chinchilla already fallen. Trip, I'm pretty sure, has been spotted out as well, so they're trying to just force him to push up, and the Molotov actually going to force him to go back. They did have some reinforcements being called as well, which made it seem like they wanted to further push up onto the B side, regardless of having lost a player earlier on. But now they're questioning about how they want to approach this round. Yet again, a player spotted out over towards ramp already. The CCG, again, they're just walking back and forth between both of these sides. They're questioning about what they can realistically do with already being a man down. Not a lot of information on their side as well, and quite honestly, Pantsu still looking as strong as ever, with a lot of map control to work with.
And here they go, exploding onto that B bomb site, into the crossfire. The op from Terminica doing so much work. Gets a double, and there falls Corrin. Feels like Pantsu has been guessing correctly all game long. And now they've got themselves on match point.
Oh, what a heartbreak this is going to be if CCG are not able to push us to an overtime. They had comfortable leads twice in this game so far. At one at the early stage, they were up 4-1. One just now, they were up 11-8, I believe. But the comebacks, they have been strong. They've been so strong that CCG have been left speechless. And now we head into what could potentially be the final round of CCG Esports in this season of ESEA Advanced.
Has to be this round where they find a way. Mac 10s, some Galeals. Gonna have to find some sort of opening. Nobi might have sniffed out Jay Casper. Finds the headshot onto that short player. He will fall, and the rest of CCG kind of just freeze up. It still feels like Inflict, they don't have a correct movement.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the pressure, the mental effect that the pressure alone can have, of the importance of this round. Sometimes it can be too much to deal with. Realistically, all regardless of how experienced you are in these situations, it's always gonna have your hands shaking. And CCG, they continue to falter. Floridiot down. The captain has already been put out of his misery. With only 3 players left, no utility remaining in their bank. One Galil, one AK, one Mac 10. The bomb starts to go down. Corin looking to be the hero. He's found one, but now they need to back off. Jason Chinchilla, he eventually will get away with his life, just barely though, as CCG try to hold on, try to make this work, and Corin falls.
Trip gets one onto TMK, but Termika finds another, and N2O gets Trip. It took the entire distance, the entire gauntlet. The Pantsu come out on top, and Pantsu unfortunately end CCG Esports' season. They'll end up at 7-5, and fortunately, Inflict, that is just not a good enough mark to make playoffs with top 16.
Yeah, and quite honestly, it's just absolutely devastating to see how the season has gone for CCJ. Last season, when they did make playoffs by the bare minimum as well, they were in the 16th seed last season. They had to make a miraculous comeback happen. We've mentioned it numerous times this season so far as well, just because how impressive it was. They had to go on a 5-win streak to get into the playoffs spot by a 3-round differential. They had to make 10-5 comebacks happen in CSGO. And this season around, where it finally felt like that CCG have found their groove, have found their rhythm, have found their footing as a team. They knew they were comfortable with each other. They were comfortable on their map picks. They were sitting 7-2. They go on to lose 3 games in a row to get eliminated. What a tragic way to put things to an end.
Tough loss, tough end of the season here for CCG Esports. I don't think there's going to be an interview. I'm sure none of the players really want to talk about that loss right now. There's not much to know with the future of CCG Esports, to be frankly honest. Last season, they barely made playoffs in a similar scenario, and they made some noise this time. They fall short. The new game, they had some issues. We didn't see SRY this entire week. They had to substitute at multiple points, but those are all just minor things. Every team deals with substitutions like that. And like you mentioned with some of the freebies they were handed off, forfeits in the start they had, it felt like playoffs was a lock, and it's just a disappointing end.
Yeah, 2 wins, well, this whole week, and they would have pretty much confirmed their playoff spot, courtesy of those forfeits as well. And they were being counted as 13-0, so round differential was absolutely no problem for them whatsoever. And honestly, if you're SRY as well, you're possibly kicking yourself because you couldn't you couldn't play the final week where it mattered the most. And SRY, he was probably the player that led them to playoffs last season as well. And it's just got to be heartbreaking to see that if you had played there, the again the ifs and buts starts to rise in your mind, that what would have happened if we did this, if that happened, if that went our way. And again, it's there's only honestly so much you can talk about the situation, but at the end you have to understand the reality of things, and that's that CCG are not making playoffs anymore.
Yeah, it is the end of the calendar year and the season here for CCG Esports. I don't know what the future of the CS2 team looks like. I know these guys, they've been battling together as a group for a very long time, but with the nature of North American CS2, especially around Advanced, I don't know if this roster will stick together. I'd like to see when rosters stick together, but we'll see. It all will have to come in the new year here when it comes to Counter Strike 2. That is the end for CCG Esports in 2023. The only thing left on the cards for CCG Esports, I believe, in this year is going to be the League of Legends team, which will play tomorrow night in the Aegis Champions League. That is also an elimination match, potentially the last League of Legends match for Counter Strike for CCG Esports. So make sure to tune in for that if you are a fan of the main League of Legends team. But Inflict, that will do it for us tonight. Do you have any final words for your last CCG CS2 cast of the year?
I mean, there's a lot to be said, but honestly, I just hope that the roster does stick together. You know, you mentioned that how the trends are in NACS, but we've seen these guys play for two seasons. We've seen them grow as well, especially in the last season. They were struggling big time, and then they made that run. This time around, it felt like that they just knew what they were doing all across the board, and to end out in such a fashion where you almost did make playoffs. You were in a prime spot to be able to finish the cross the line as well. But honestly, if they stick together, if they work things through, they're likely gonna get more consistent to make their way into playoffs as time goes on. But again, it's a question about what the players want to do. It's up to them. It's not up to anybody else what they're comfortable with. So we can only just wait and watch about how things move forward.
Well, there's nowhere to go but forward. Unfortunately, though, forward here on the stream is going to be the end. Like we mentioned, Pantsu 13-11 win over CCG Esports to lock themselves into playoffs and knock CCG out. Make sure to stay locked to socials. Grim always good at updating those. Kelda and the rest of the team really good at keeping up to top standard when it comes to the socials on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, to see what the update will be next for the CS2 team. But for now, guys, enjoy your holidays, whatever you celebrate. And hopefully, we'll be back here in 2024 for a new chapter of CCG Esports in Counter Strike 2. Until then, take care.